And welcome back to the Ruby Tuesday. My name is Ruben, and this is my review for He-Man and the Masters of the Universe, the third season. I'm going to be talking about the ending as well at the end, so no spoilers until then. With the 8 episodes that we get for season 3, I was intrigued to see what they would do with the story, and it very much feels like a culmination or wrap-up of the arc that's been building for a long time. We have Crass, who's been going evil all because she wants to have her parents resurrected, which is not a bad thing, but at the same time, she's kind of ignoring everything that she holds dear. She's breaking away, giving up everything for that maybe possibility that she can get her parents back. And at the heart of that is, of course, Skeletor, who is able to control Grayskull. The good guys no longer have control of Grayskull, even though he is not corporeal, is in spirit form, but through the stone in Crass's head, she's able to give Skeletor that kind of power that he has. He's had almost has more power than he had when he had a corporeal body. And so this time, right at the beginning of season 3, we find our groups of heroes, I guess our villains. There's various teams that have been built up through these 2 seasons, but they're all spaced out everywhere. The adventure is broken up into bits of puzzle pieces. And even then, when we start at the beginning of episode 1, we see our team even further go and separate because they all have been set things to do to kind of save the day. We have Evil Lyn and her team trying to get back their powers. We have Skeletor, who's trying to get all the power that he needs and is keeping his plan under wraps, but we know what he wants. He wants to control everything and have him be at the center of everything because he's a evil, maniacal, great character. And I do say that in this season, again, the voice work has been fantastic, but just really knocks it out of the park for this season. The evil, maniacal laugh that he brings is just brilliant. He-Man has a lot of testing that he goes through in this season, which I quite liked. They've all grown into their powers. They had to learn what it means to become a master, and even in that, within the first 2 seasons, they had to do more growing. And I thought maybe that this was the team now, this is the strength, and they're going to work together to defeat Skeletor and Evil Lyn and those kind of guys. This time around, though, they have more growing to go through. Our characters have to go through more kind of growth spurts, not actually growing up, but learning things about their powers, who they are, where their power comes from. It's your inner self where your power comes from, dude. And once you harness that or understand that, once you learn the moral of the story, that is basically what this season does. It's still a lot of fun. I really like where our characters are in this season because they have to earn the right to get back together again. But it does feel like this particular season is pulling certain threads from stories that we've had before, like Infinity War from the MCU. There's a scene that just reminded me so much of when they were trying to get Thanos' glove, that that had this whole plan on particular episodes where I just thought, whoa, that is so close that they're obviously taking inspiration from that. It was fun to watch, but I was just giggling the whole way through it. I also couldn't help but seeing He-Man more like the Hulk in this series. He's been kind of doing things that are a lot Hulk-like. The jumping that he does now, which is basically flying. If you've watched the original Ang Lee Hulk movie, that's what the Hulk does when he jumps. He flies with his jumps because he's going so far. And then even so far as like the Hulk slap, He-Man does that as well, which the comparison there is to be made, although He-Man's been doing this stuff for a long time. It does feel like this version of He-Man is much more bulkier on top. He's like bulky top, weakness legs. He obviously skipped leg day. What He-Man goes through this season is interesting because we thought that he was the hero, and he is the hero, but he's got to kind of prove that he is the hero once again. He's got to fight his inner demons, and it takes his whole family to help him do that. And the interesting theme of this whole season is family. There's a nice little moment in one of these episodes where they realize that family is who you are with, what you make it, not necessarily just your blood. And talking about his blood family, the king is along the ride for the journey in this. I thought it was really fun to see him interact, even though he doesn't have superpowers like they do. The way he is bringing the heart for his son is really nice. So they become this bloodline family, but also extended family, and it's them working together to stop Skeletor's plan. And when we start seeing Skeletor's plan revealed, you realize it's bigger than you thought it was going to be. I loved the culmination of this whole series. The last 2 episodes is as big as the previous seasons has been, and then more so. And seeing the different locations with the animation style, I think they've done themselves a service at just showing how much of this world that there is, how much imagination you can pour through it. And talking about one of those characters that I haven't talked about yet, Orko does play a part in this without going into spoilers if you haven't seen it yet. And I really liked kind of what they did with these storylines. It does feel like they're building on individual characters in this season, but as well as managing to move forward the arc. I think it's a very well put together season. It's drawing from the previous two seasons, so they don't have to like kind of establish too much lore or who these characters are. They can just build on them, which is nice because they've had the previous two seasons to build on. This works really well. So when we get to the culmination of the couple of episodes at the end, you're on the edge of your seat, you're willing the good guys to win, but you're also loving everything that Skeletor brings to the screen because he's just a joy to watch. I think I was just, this is that He-Man that you could watch with young folks. They're reintroducing them, if like their new generation, into it. They're probably loving it. And if you've watched He-Man when you were growing up, you're probably still loving this as well. What they're doing with it is slightly different, but still kind of giving the love and ode to the He-Man peeps. I think they've done a really great job. If you've been on board for the first two seasons, I think you're going to be on board for this one. Let me know in the comments below, who is your favorite character in this version of He-Man? Who do you really like, kind of resonate with, and want to see more of? I'm going to give it 4 Nicolas Cages out of 5.
You killed me! You said you were love!
I think it's a really solid animated series, especially season 3. For me, it's the strongest. If I were to rank the 3, I'd probably go 1, 2, 3. I loved 1, loved 2, loved 3. I just think they're getting stronger as they go, and that's a good way to go. It does feel like it's a culmination event of this could be a standalone trilogy. They don't really need to go into having a season 4, although I think there's definitely going to be a season 4, which I'm going to talk about now. So if you don't want any spoilers, you have been warned. So let's jump in. So during one of the battles where Evil Lyn has kind of joined the group, and the bad guys and good guys are together trying to defeat Skeletor because he's become so evil and he wants to destroy all worlds and remake them in his own image. Of course he would. That's such a Skeletor thing to do. So Evil Lyn is joining the battle, and she's up there in the sky and she's about to fight, and she gets whisked away by her apparition that she thought was hers to call. And it takes her away from battle. And we don't see her for a while until we get that clip at the end where then she is there going, "Hey, you are mine to command. Why aren't you obeying me?" And then he reveals himself to be her father. And everybody goes, and the fans that know go, "Whoa, it's got to be this storyline." And everybody else goes, "What? And who is that?" Yeah, so the Faceless One was her father, the ruler of Zalesia, once known as Nicolas Powers, who was entrusted by King Grayskull to guard the city's great magical objects, the Havoc Staff and the Ramstone. So now you can kind of understand, having seen season 3, the Ramstone and the Havoc Staff played a big part in this season, and why he's around now. The whole story, well, the original story goes that he sent his daughter into the future and something went wrong then. I'd have to refresh my memory. That was the original story, and seeing him come now, it looks like he is a bad guy, but I think he was originally a good guy. So, well, at least in his human form, this wasn't his original form. The Faceless One first appeared in an articulated action figure in 2011 as part of Mattel's Masters of the Universe Classic storyline, and there he was still in his human form. The Faceless One was charged with guarding the Ramstone in recent times. The Ramstone was twice stolen from his keeping under Skeletor's orders, once by Evil Lyn, who returned it soon afterwards, and later by Count Marzo, after which it was destroyed by He-Man. Now the only thing of value the Faceless One had left to guard was his daughter. She called out to him for help when Skeletor tried to sacrifice her to the Pool of Shadows, but as he was bound to Zalesia, he contacted He-Man to save her instead. So that's kind of the history and origins of the original story, but I think they're doing their own thing. They're changing it up a bit, but it's so interesting to me that now that this is where the story's kind of going. Let me know your thoughts below. Where do you think they're going with this? What do you think they're going to do with season 4? Thanks so much for watching. Give me your ranking down below and your favorite characters. Here are another 2 reviews, one of which is season 2 review for He-Man and the Masters of the Universe. Another one YouTube chose for you. Thanks so much for watching, but most of all, until next time, remember, live on Tuesday.